Hey, how are you? So this is Dan Rosendi, and today we're gonna have an international look on why Malaysia is getting rich and Indonesia is not. And this is the photo of the day. It's me in Bali at a temple. I thought it was fun. I wanted to show it to you guys. But yeah, Malaysia and Indonesia, most people know that they're pretty similar countries. They're similar in many ways. They're geographically similar because, well, they're close. Their languages are quite similar. Their climate is quite similar. They have, well, tropical in general geography and fauna. Physical proximity. They were both colonized, even though Malaysia was colonized by the UK and Indonesia was colonized by the Dutch. They do share colonial history together, and maybe most importantly, they share religion and kind of an ethics landscape as well. If you see here, Malaysia is about 63% Muslim, and Indonesia is 87% Muslim. So Indonesia is more Muslim than Malaysia, but they're both still vastly the same religion. But Malaysia is much more developed, and I mean like much more developed. Boasts around 2.5 times the GDP per capita of Indonesia. That is a lot, like earning on average 2.5 times more than your neighbor is, well, significant to say the least. It's actually got a better HCI, lower poverty levels, higher life expectancy, and it's expected to reach high income status by 2028, which is quite impressive if you ask me. So obviously, high income status, that's pretty much the higher status you can have. That doesn't mean that all high income countries they have the same level of income, but that's it. You know, after you reach it, there's only some variance, of course, but it's the same status. Let's say that Portugal, Spain, France, the U.S., Canada have. So that is quite impressive, and it's going to be the second Southeast Asian country to do so after Singapore. And it's been like that for a while. Malaysia has been getting much wealthier, of course, but it has always kind of been wealthier than Indonesia. This is from 1965, I found it on Google. So you can see that it's a trend that's been going on for a long time. What are the differences between Indonesia and Malaysia that could explain that difference? Well, like I said, Indonesia was colonized by the Dutch, Malaysia was colonized by the British. Indonesia has a president, Malaysia has a king. It's actually one of the few monarchies in the world where the king is elected. And the king is largely representative, but still they're elected from a council of sultans, which are all hereditary. So it's definitely a very different system to, let's say, republic. Indonesia uses civil law, Malaysia uses common law. Indonesia is unitary, Malaysia is federal. Like I said, those sultans, those decentralized states, they have a lot of power. Indonesia is republican, Malaysia has more of a Westminster system like the UK, so it's parliamentary. Indonesia is quite closed off. Malaysia is much more open. One example I like to give, just if you're a tourist in Indonesia, the visa is a little harder to get. You can stay for 30 days, then you can extend if you pay a fee for 30 more days, and then you have to leave and come back again. In Malaysia, get 90 days straight away, so it's just easier. In Indonesia, foreigners can't own land, so as you can see, it's just like less open to foreigners in general than Malaysia is. And Malaysia has a very simple tax system comparatively, especially to Indonesia. Has a territorial tax system, and it attracts a lot of capital that wants to, well, run away from taxes, let's say. It's not quite a tax haven, but it is an attractive option tax-wise. So there's a lot of differences. A bit of data on the British colony thing. I think a lot of people know that, but a lot of former British colonies ended up being quite developed and pro-market. This is from 2019. And it's pretty much a economic freedom index. In the top five, four are former British colonies. The only one that isn't is Switzerland. And then after the top five, Ireland, the UK, Canada. They're all obviously, well, the UK is the UK, but Ireland and Canada were also colonized by Britain, and the US was also colonized by Britain. Whereas, for example, the Dutch, which was another colonial power, it's still here, like it's at the top or near the top, but there's no Dutch colonized countries at the top. And this could be a coincidence, but I personally don't think so. I think that a lot of what came out of being colonized by British rule, so common law, just a parliamentary system, framed for government and for private property, that kind of helps a country out. Not that British colonialism was perfect, but if you compare it to other countries that colonized as well, I mean, there's not a single country colonized by Spain, France, Portugal, or the Netherlands that turned out pretty developed, and there are quite a few British ones, so it is something to consider. Second thing is obviously whether monarchy equals prosperity. As a lot of people may know, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, they're actually monarchies because they have the King of England, or the King of England is also the King of Australia, King of New Zealand, King of Canada. But it isn't just those British settled countries that have a monarch still. So Japan still has an emperor. Quite a few Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Malaysia, some of the most stable ones actually, they also are monarchies, like I mentioned. And if you zoom in on Europe, obviously the UK is a monarchy, but a lot of the Northern European countries that are known for being very rich, they're monarchies as well. So Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, Spain, even though Spain is not top-notch rich for European levels, it is a pretty stable, developed country. And of course, there's a few countries in the Gulf as well that, whether you agree with them politically or not, they're definitely very wealthy. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that question with you. Is monarchy actually a way to prosperity? And last but not least, reinforcing on the political stability and ease of doing business thing, Malaysia was ranked number 12 in the world, whereas Indonesia was ranked number 73. So Malaysia definitely remains more open to business, to investment. It has a more favorable tax policy. It is also more politically stable and has a decentralized federal system. All those things, I think, help Malaysia out. It's easier to organize a country that's decentralized, and obviously it's easier to get rich if you're open to investment. So wrapping up, I would wrap it up more or less like, despite their similarities, Malaysia and Indonesia have taken widely different paths towards economic prosperity, and Malaysia seems to be the clear winner. The data reinforces the importance of government stability, integrity, subsidiarity, a simple and efficient tax policy, and openness towards business. By the way, subsidiarity just means decentralization. It also indicates that British systems of law and government might be preferred over civil law, republicanism, and unitary governments. But yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think? Why do you think Malaysia is developing so quick? Why do you think that Indonesia is lagging behind? Let me know in the comments below.